If at any point, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot hear me, please absolutely let me know. Let me share this to Facebook. One moment. All right. All right, I'm back. Thanks. All right, I'm back. Thanks. I had to go live on Meta Facebook this morning. Good morning, everyone. Holly King, welcome to Wild Kingdom Wellness, my podcast. I'm actually live right now on YouTube, so if you do catch this recording later, please do feel free to like and subscribe or comment below on what you think about our conversation this morning. So anyway, I'm just going to jump right in, ladies and gentlemen, because in front of me on my table is a library of books that we're going to talk about today in this live stream video. But more so, I'm going to talk to you all from a minister standpoint, just a ministry standpoint. This is just, again, just my own personal belief, okay? I'm going to minister to you all from my own personal belief system. So let me just start off by saying nothing I say is meant to be legal advice or medical advice. Okay, so let's just throw that disclaimer out today. Okay, so anyway, what do I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen? I want to talk about the books that are in front of me on my table, and I'm going to talk to you all about this current day spiritual warfare that we are under as human beings. Okay, so if you are in any way, shape, or form at a place where you can set this recording down and listen to me as I talk to you all about the current day spiritual warfare that we human beings are participating in. I would suffice it to say, maybe even creating. That's a bold statement, isn't it? Like, subscribe. you know, we human beings are creating a spiritual warfare in the realms of the universe. Okay. Why would I say that as a person, as a woman of all things, right? As a woman who believes in the power of spirituality in our lives on a daily basis, as you live and breathe and move and have your being, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are spiritual creatures. Okay. Now, I also know that when I look at the war that we're in right now, okay, and I'm in America, so I know a lot of you all catch me across the globe during your dinner time, right? Listen to me, please. I'm begging you. I have a book on Shakti in front of me, okay? We are going to awaken Shakti, okay? And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for me to talk to you all from a spiritual collective consciousness standpoint, okay? As a woman, okay? Because I identify as a woman, if anybody cares. Beep, bop, boop. Look up Gina Carrero, okay? I'm a beep, bop, boop at this point. But y'all, there is a massive rip. There has been a rip down the veil of spiritual collective consciousness. So, either you're going to really want to hear what I have to say, or you're going to think, I don't want to hear nothing she has to say, because if Holly is telling me, you know, that the collective consciousness of belief systems is at war, I want you to all think about that. From a human perspective, God, I hope I do not get cut off in the name of Jesus on this video, okay? Because y'all, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, human beings, human beings that still bleed, that are on the planet watching me here. But hello, let's see. Your car goes. You're gorgeous. Oh, Scott, already going to talk about me being pretty. We'll talk about that later, Scott Bagley. Okay, like and subscribe. We're going to talk about vanity in these videos. Okay, but listen to me, Scott. I'm trying to get your human consciousness attention. That is why I look like the way I do. Okay. Why? Because I am still a spiritual person inside of this human body. And ladies and gentlemen, because I am a certified Bible coach, Scott, this might scare you away. Okay. This is the King James Bible. Okay. I am a spiritual person. I grew up, I'll tell you what my belief systems have been and what they are now, and why I'm doing this video talking about the spiritual warfare that's going on right now in the world, like on planet Earth. Okay. Let me tell you how I got here to becoming a praying Reiki master, for that matter, person. Okay. So let's see. I know I'm very spiritual, but I'm noticing that it's already happening in the book of Revelation. It's talking about people turning their back towards God and Jesus. Have you noticed that? We're going to the book of Revelation this morning to the 12th chapter because, Scott, I'm going to talk about the whore of Babylon. You're not going to want to miss these videos, okay? But yes, you're absolutely right. And I'm going to try not to get too distracted right now as I talk on this live stream. So bear with me, Scott. But in front of me on my desk are all the books, the different belief systems of the world. Okay. Don't believe me? Here we go. I have the Jewish Study Bible. Okay. And again, I am a certified Bible coach. Okay. So you're not going to want to miss these videos. Okay. This is a real human. Okay. And I'm a woman and I got some stuff I'm going to talk about. Okay. Okay. But we're going to keep it like, somewhat on the up and up. I do cuss though, Scott. Just so you know, you might hear the F bomb fly out of my mouth every once in a while, but Jesus also threw the table over in the church. So sometimes I get a little passionate about what I'm saying, but just bear with me here, okay? Because I grew up in Christianity, okay? I grew up in mainstream evangelical Christianity. Okay, so what would that look like in the 1970s and 80s? Okay, so just to date me, and I don't mean date me, but to tell you how old I am, I was born in the 70s, early 70s. Okay, so I grow up in my suburban town, you know, and in my city. And I grow up and I'm like, all right, I go to the Baptist church. I'm 7 years old. This Baptist preacher comes up to me. I'm just playing with my dolls. I'm not doing anything, right? I'm in the basement of this church, local church, of which I could walk to. I live that close. Truth, okay? And this man kneels down to me one day and says, "Hey, little girl." He didn't know me. He didn't know me. He was the pastor, big pastor, right, of this community. Um, would you like to give your life over to Jesus? Will you invite him to live in your heart? And I'm like, what? I'm seven. I'm seven. I don't know what that means. I'm going to invite somebody to live in my heart. You need to explain to me, preacher, pastor, you need to explain to me what that means. Invite Jesus to live in my heart. Okay. And then he leans in. I remember this like it was yesterday. Okay. Hot dog and a sandwich. Oh, well. But anyway, this preacher leans in and he's like, yeah, so you don't die and go to hell. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the truth is most Baptist, Pentecostal, evangelical churches preach the hell, fire, and damnation message that if you don't follow Jesus Christ and all these rules, There's a bucket of rules, okay? You will die and go to hell and burn in a fiery furnace, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Okay, look it up. Okay, so I'm seven. I'm seven, and I'm like, I guess, yes. So then the next week at church, this man brings me up in front of the entire congregation, and I get baptized in a water baptism at 7 years old, professing that I will follow Jesus Christ the rest of my days so that I will be saved. Again, Baptists like to tell you you're saved, you're good, you're washed under the blood, you're clean, no big deal. Now you follow these rules, all these rules, and you come here every week, 3 times a week, and you give me 10% of your income, and I'm going to keep feeding you the same message over and over again from this book and this book alone. Now, I was 7. So, is that religious trauma? Is it? Is that religious trauma for a grown man to kneel down to a 7-year-old without parental permission? Because my parents were not there. Okay, they were at home. They sent us to church, but I get it. They needed a break, just like everybody else does. Okay. And I was with my other siblings, so I was not alone. We were shipped off to church, to be raised as to be good children, okay, to respect people, to find the path of a spiritual foundation for my life. Okay. Now, fast forward almost 50 years. Okay. Timelines, right? Here I am. I went through the Baptist church. I went through 3 baptisms. I ended up in the evangelical Pentecostal church for over a decade. Okay, so here I am, story time, good kid, try not to lie. I only got away with some things. Like, I knew to respect my parents. I was growing up in, a lesser economy. Both parents had to work to give us, money. We stuffed 6 to 7 people in a Chevette, a Chevy Chevette. If you know what a Chevette is, look it up, Google it. Okay, we were small people on the planet growing up in my childhood home. We were small people. Okay, I'm going somewhere with this. So, to my brothers and sisters who watch this video, my siblings, my step siblings, I love you. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say right now. Okay, but ladies and gentlemen, hear me. I was conditioned to believe that if I didn't follow Jesus, the man, the Christ, that I was gonna die in a fiery furnace of hell, and that Satan and all his angels were going to be down there with me going, ha ha, tricked you, fooled you, and now you're going to stay down here in hell, in Sheol for my Jewish friends. And again, we're going to talk about some differences between Judaism, Christianity, which are pretty, they can coalesce. Okay. You see me doing the wave at this point? Don't get me dancing right now, y'all. Listen, we can coalesce as human beings on the planet with our brothers and sisters who are Jewish. Not only that, here she go. She gonna get real political now. Yep, because I'm a channeling. We can coalesce with our Muslim brothers and sisters. This is the Quran. I've not read it yet. Okay, but I own it. Okay. It stays with my Bible and my Jewish Bible and the other Bibles I'm about to show you all, okay? Because this stack is big. So I am the queen of the Library of Alexandria in this lifetime. I'm just gonna put that crown on my head, okay? Because I know without a shadow of a doubt that all of the knowledge, all the secrets are accessible to us if we will open our eyes and realize that we need to pierce through the veil. of spirituality as humans. We need to see what's going on the other side as a collective consciousness to recognize the fact that there is a system that has been put in place. There is a system, a global system. Hello to whoever's watching. Say hi. Y'all, there is. The people know, human beings, the real humans, the real. We know there is a system put in place to see whether or not we're awake to what they're doing to us, for us, against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the power, the kingdom, and the glory. Amen. But what system are we working in? Okay. Bet you haven't read the Bible either. Me? I'm certified in the Bible. Listen, I have read that Bible so many times. So, and I don't care what you think. So, I'm just here to share my message with you. Again, this is for your entertainment purposes only. Like and subscribe, okay? Because listen, I ain't going to argue semantics with you. I'm not going to argue politics with you. I don't have to. Okay. I know what my belief system is. And my personal belief system is everybody that's real, that's not a bot, an AI troll, you know, if you have a sentient consciousness and you're not an AI, you know, which some of y'all are about to become hybrids, just saying, you know, funny, not funny, but listen to me, okay? Human beings, ladies and gentlemen, have a right to speak their truth, no matter what soil they plant their feet on, okay, or in, whatever. We all have a right to exist. And when we forget that as the sole message of our soul, okay, the sole purpose of your soul as a human being, ladies and gentlemen, is that you understand at some point in your incarnation that you have the right to exist just like everybody else. And when you look at that simple perspective, no matter what country you live in, no matter what belief system you have, no matter what Bible you decide to study out of, because you might be Catholic. Okay, again, I was raised in Baptist, Pentecostal, big time Zionist Israel supporters. Okay, the people. I don't think the real evangelicals understand. I mean, come on, Paula White, where you at now? Come have a conversation with me. I would love to have a conversation, a one-on-one conversation with Paula White, who is spiritual advisor to Donald J. Trump, according to the information that I received from Candace Owens last night, allegedly, that Paula, is it Paula J. White? Paula White? Paula White. Y'all, I grew up listening to Paula White for a decade. Perry Stone, T.D. Jakes, Kenneth Copeland. Hi, Kenneth Copeland. you know, Cleveland Church of God. And I grew up under the preaching that if you support Israel, then you are saved. Now, what is the difference? Let's categorize this for a minute. Let's put this in a junkie box, okay? What is the difference, you all? This is a spiritual junkie box between that Baptist preacher telling me as a 7-year-old child that I needed to give my life over to Jesus Christ the man so that I didn't die and go to a fiery hell, because fire is hot, y'all. Listen, I know how to protect my altar, okay? Fire is hot, okay? I'm 7. Of course, I'm going to say yes. That was a man who probably unintentionally, to be honest, if I remember his energy the way I did as a kid, this man was just doing his job. He's like, I got to get as many people saved before I die as I can. That's what a lot of Baptist spiritual preachers, that's what a lot of them say. I've heard it a million times. Y'all, listen, I keep a record, okay? I'm a great Akashic Records reader. And it's like, you know, get as many people saved as you can so that you can expand the coast of the kingdom of heaven, right? Is that not the Christian message? That is the core of a whole lot of the Christian messages up until now. Because some of us Christians have recognized that even our own belief systems and indoctrinations have deceived us, whether on purpose or not. We have been deceived as humans. Now, so what we have now is we've got the parable of sifting through the wheat and the chaff. Okay. So now we've got to figure out as a collective of humans, Jewish people, Muslim people, Hindu people, people who, I don't think anybody was back born during the 1500s before the King James Bible, y'all, this Geneva Bible from 1560. I don't think any of those people right now have a say so in what's going on in the world around us, nor do they pay their taxes. Okay, these people are dead. Most of the people who have written these sacred texts, these spiritual messages, your King James Bible, brothers and sisters in Christ, all these people are dead. We're not dead yet. We're not dead. We're still human. We live in collective boxes. Check the box. What do you do when you go to the doctor? You check the box. What do you do when you sign up for, to vote? You check the box. I am done checking boxes, y'all. Listen, I know that there is a greater message out there for people if they will just open their eyes and their ears and listen when I say to them, being united as a country and as a globe, like it takes a little bit of work on yourself, your chakras, work on your heart, work on your belief systems, work on your solar plexus, work on your identity, your financial status, your ability to fill in the blank, work on yourself as a person. Again, I am a health coach too. So I can coach you from this side of the fence and go, look, back to Scott's thing about, looking pretty. I used to weigh almost 300 pounds, y'all. Look it up. Like listen, I got a story to tell you. Okay. This is why I'm here on this Wild Kingdom Wellness channel. And so you should like and subscribe and share this podcast with somebody, for heaven's sakes, because I do go live a lot and it's hard to edit your videos and not be genuine when you hit the live button. Just saying, y'all. But listen, there's a lot that we could learn from each other and not just who's in the files. Like this whole narrative, guys, has got my third eye completely blasted wide open. Okay. This whole spiritual narrative of World War III that we're under right now. I mean, they've not declare it's not declared yet. Listen, I'm gonna declare as a human being and as a person who still has a right to speak her mind and her have the vibration of love flow through her body as she works on her solar plexus and her third eye and her throat chakra, to get a message out of hope to people to go, listen, we're all mad at each other. Everybody wants to fight. Everybody wants to have an identity. Everybody wants to have a title. Beep, bop, boop. Bop, boop, beep. Whatever. you know, if you even think that you don't have spiritual energy coursing through your veins that has nothing to do with your genital choice or profession or birthright, whether you have a penis or you have a vagina, it doesn't matter. This is not what's important. This is what's important, ladies and gentlemen. When you're able to connect your heart to your mind, that was the whole purpose. This is the whole purpose, ladies and gentlemen, of understanding the message that's in this book. Okay? But what I see going on in the world around me is the 12th chapter of Revelation is now. Okay? We have stepped into the prophetic, ladies and gentlemen. If you have had a spiritual awakening in the last few years to recognize the fact that not only do we have corrupt systems, we have deception. These are deceptional times, boys and girls. The times that we are in right now are deceptional. Okay, not exceptional, although we're getting there. They are deceptional. Now, does that mean I don't have hope as a person to go, oh my God, it's the end of the world? It's everything that the Pentecostal preacher was preaching to me about in the evangelical and Baptist church. Now it's happening because we have a lot of prophetic, documented, astrologically documented times at hand. Okay. If you're an astrologer, if you read tarot cards, if you have any idea of what's going on in the collective consciousness as the veil has ripped in two, okay, especially with all this Aries energy that's not going away anytime soon. So, friends, family, mom, by the way, mom, this is your mom. So, anyway, I got my altar set up here. Listen, I know how to set up an altar. But I'm telling you all, the collective consciousness, the veil has been split. What has happened? Hold on, I gotta take a drink of my cup. Hold on, coffee. Uh-huh. What has happened here is not only are we in a spiritual warfare against with the two major religions of the world. Okay, I'm gonna be a theologist for a second. Okay, Muslims and Christians are make up the whole of the population when it comes to belief systems. So if you're a Christian, you're like, let's say 52% of the planet, and then 49% is Muslim. You always get, anytime I've ever seen a journalist report about, how many people are Christians, then it's like 2% more than Muslims. Okay, so but basically we're the same. Come on, who's really out there counting, going, well, today you decided to be a Christian, and tomorrow you're a Muslim, and now you're a Buddhist, and now you do yoga, and oh my God, you don't know what you are, right? So, but that's what the statistics say. Okay, is that we have these two massive religions on the planet, and then you have Judaism. My Jewish friends, I love you. Listen, I know. I already know. I don't know everything. I don't. But from my perspective, my friends that are Jewish and the people that I follow that are Jewish are not fans of Bibi Netanyahu. I can't even say his name. They're like, this, of course, it's genocide. I'm like, well, yeah, because that's what we do as humans, right? It has nothing to do with your belief system. It has to do with authoritarianism and totalitarianism. It has to do with, like, that country. If I have a Jewish friend and they were born in America and they practice the holidays and go to, temple, Shabbat Shalom, like, are you kidding? Teach me. Like, I want to know the power of communicating direct with your creator. And you don't even say his name, you know, but you're like, it is the all of all. Those are the Jewish people that I want to hang out with because they get it. They're like, yeah, the Torah is pretty cool. We're not here to try to, kill, unalive you, Holly. That's not why we're here. We're here to have sup with you. We're here to learn and grow and understand that we're more alike than we are unalike. And yes, I'm yelling. It infuriates me. This is how my Shakti gets awakened, okay? As a woman, as a human being, as a devout person, to my spiritual belief system. Ladies and gentlemen, it does something to me when I see two people arguing over the same historical storyline, millennia after millennia after millennia. Okay, it causes my face to get very red. And it's true. This is where these autoimmune disorders come from. Anger, frustration, aggravation, grief, sorrow, despair, distrust. Distrust of who? Let me see. I can make a list of people that I don't trust. They're probably in the files. The biggest scandal of my lifetime, because I was not born when she died. And if you're listening to me on an audio, I'm pointing to a picture of Marilyn Monroe, of which has a story. Okay, I have I have a very good book on her if you want a book recommendation. But listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. It causes my heart to break when I see people arguing over the fact that their God is a better God than the other God, and then steal their land both ways, year after year. Of course, this is like, y'all, this ain't no different than the Lord of the Rings. Okay, it's no different. So what am I to do? Where is my responsibility? First of all, as a spiritual person, and as a responsible person, to the best of my ability, I try to uphold the laws and the edicts of the land and play the game. I try to play the game, financial game, like everybody else. What good does it do when you are spiritually dead inside? And what I see going on is just like Candace Owens talks about last night on her podcast. You know, I think we got people in global leadership who are spiritually dead to the power of which they might believe in it, but they're so spiritually dead to their powers that, maybe they are a tool of the devil. But here's the thing, y'all. It's how you use your power, not how much power you have. Okay. So in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11, it states that they overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And if you look at where that scripture is in the book of Revelation, it's directly after it talks about the warfare of the righteous woman or the harlot, because there's two sides to this coin of who that woman is in the book of Revelation. Okay. Was she the harlot as she battled the dragon? And the dragon wanted to eat the child, what was being born, what was being birthed out of her womb? Or was she a Catholic rendition of the book of the Mother Mary? Because when I asked my listening device this morning, who was who is the woman in the back of the Bible that defeats the dragon? Was she a harlot or was she a holy woman? And what's funny is my listening device said to me that the woman in the back of the book of Revelation is depicted as Virgin Mary and the child is Jesus, which in simplistic terms makes sense if you follow Christianity and its mythology. Yes, I said mythology. It's all mythology, y'all. It's all mythology. So that's just a scientific fact. I don't care what you believe. It's all pre-written word. Okay, so this is a story. All of this on my altar is a story. Okay. But what humans have done, primarily men, is they've taken symbolism, which is the way that we communicate collectively as a consciousness. So all you Pisceans out there, all my Pisces friends, this is good schooling for you, okay? People who live in these chakras, the uppers, Aquariuses, Pisces, Scorpios are up there, Capricorns, okay? We're like the spiritual smackdown team when it comes to destruction. And if you know a Scorpio, which I'm a double Scorpio, so now we're coming out of our little shell, ladies and gentlemen. Also have a moon in Cancer, if anybody cares. So we're coming out of my shell. Coming out of my shell. But if you have access to the keys to the kingdom, just like King Solomon did back in the Old Testament. Okay, this is what Candace Owens was talking about last night. So if anybody catches this later, hit replay. Okay, like, subscribe. Okay, so Candace, if you see this, I love you. I'm not trying to stalk you, but I'm trying to get a message to you without blowing up your more tips at candace.owens.com mailbox. Okay, so anyway. I got a lot we could talk about on a podcast. Okay, the keys of Solomon. It's all just symbolism. Okay, so let's go. Oh, let's all take a big sigh of relief that we know now that Freemasonry, gentlemen, and Eastern Stars, which are the wives of. So to all my Eastern Star sisters out there who are watching this video, because I was married to one at one time. So I didn't get in, but almost got in to the Eastern Stars. So, and you Rosicrucian friends, all my friends who are like, oh, we're just hot over here and do our spiritual work. We're not going to get in the mainstream up there with like the politicians. Again, two tiers of government. Okay. We're going to stay over here in our own little world, in our own little community, and then we'll practice our magic. We'll go to church like everybody else, but we'll call it something different. Okay. So if you're in one of those Freemasonry societies, and you get together and you gather, what dawned on me the other day and gave me a lot of peace in the storm was that I told my husband, I think Freemasons are just another level of a big BNI, business networking group. BNI. I said it's just like that, where you're in the club, you pass referrals, you have a couple drinks, you have coffee, and you take care of each other with your needs of, like, oh, I need a plumber. Okay, use this guy. He's trustworthy. Freemasonry ain't nothing but a big old boy speak easy. Again, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to get unalived, but I'm just being honest, okay? It's no different than the red tent where all these women collectively get together and cast energy, either for the good, for the collective, like some of us do, or they're like, you know, I will say this, y'all. Most women that I know who practice magic, it's a hard, it goes back to like Wicca, which I am a Wiccan priestess, by the way. So I do profess a solitary path. So, and a Christian. So I get to play in all the lands because I studied and I paid to be taught what was right and what was wrong. Okay. So I did not go to Harvard. I went to the School of Hard Knocks. Okay. And the School of Metaphysics deconstructed. Okay. So just FYI, meaning I'm self-taught. I'm self-taught, y'all. I am self-taught. You know why? Because it's in my bones and blood to shamanically talk to you all from a human perspective. Thank you for the hearts. I love you. The only thing you got into was to mess. Why do people post stuff like that? Like it says, Josh 5373. The only thing you got into was meth. That's so funny. I would love to, you know, people that troll and comment weird stuff. I think you just lonely, honey. I think you just lonely. But anyway, no, I've never done that. I've never done meth at all. Wouldn't. I, you know, but I don't condemn people that have, because you know what? Addiction is addiction. It's like I'm addicted to coffee, I'm addicted to food, occasionally I'm addicted to alcohol. And you notice I throw in the occasionally because it's like, oh, I'll be dry for 2 weeks. And then I'm like, give me my bourbon. Anyway. So, yeah, addiction sucks. Believe me, I know. So, anyway, we'll move on from that topic. That's a whole traumatic topic that we'll talk about another day. But you see me across my arms if you're on this video, okay? And I'm telling you right now, as I live and breathe, this channel will either grow viral or just go away. And if it goes away, well, at least in the moment, I was able to say to people, first of all, that I love you, that it doesn't matter what religious cult that you are in, okay? Because they're all cults, okay? It's a culture. There's a massive awakening happening with a lot of us who see the deception, who have the gift of sight, to have the gift to be able to pierce through the veil. And as Scorpios, we do. We don't mean to look at your spiritual body, your naked spiritual body. We really don't, but we can't help it because we want everybody. Scorpios want everybody to be okay. That's why we're bitches. I mean, ask my Scorpio sisters. They know. And if you got high heavy placement in your chart of Scorpio, as an astrologer who reads people's charts, y'all, when I open up a chart, if I see a concentration of Scorpio, all the M's out there, I immediately go, oh, what house is it? Okay, what are we dealing with here? Are we dealing with a fire ship, Phoenix, or are we dealing with the lowest of lows here? Because Scorpio don't know how to be in the middle. And when we are in the middle, we're immediately in the middle to go, we're going to move some shit. Let's move some things around logistically because it doesn't make sense. And for me as a spiritual warrior, I literally have a certificate to call myself a spiritual warrior. Like it could go on the checkbox of my resume. Spiritual warrior. Check. Job description. I got a 2-page job description for my certification as a Bible coach to say I am legally a spiritual warrior. Okay. But what does that mean, right? It means that I do the work. It means that I show up to life every day, which today is Tuesday, is March the 10th. It is the color of the day is gray. The moon is in Sagittarius. And drum roll, please, Jupiter went direct today. So, anyway, yeah. So, it's my job as the spiritual journalist of the universe, okay? Because that's what I want to be when I grow up, is a spiritual journalist. I want to say, did you look in this book? Did you look under that rock? Did you understand what was being said to you as a person? Did you consent? Did you sign on the dotted line to say, yes, I'm going to be a member of this particular organization, whether it's a business networking group, a job, contracts, a marriage, a divorce? Did you think it through before you signed on the dotted? Okay. And started giving your money away. And here in America, y'all, like us taxpayers, we just shake our head and go, we had no good choices during the election. There were no good choices. Although I will say, I watched a YouTube video with Kamala Harris on the Diary of a CEO channel with Steve. And it was 3 hours long. And I was like, Kamala was herself. Kamala, if you ever see this video, you know, I saw the real you during that interview. I think it was Diary of a CEO. The Diary of a CEO. I saw that. I'll have to go back later and like drop the links in the chat. So, but y'all, there's a lot going on in the world. And as a reader, as a tarot card reader, as an astrologer, as a woman who's just gifted to understand the power of vibration, and understand the frequency of the energy that flows through your chakras, because I train myself on that every day. And I look at this argument going on about whether or not we Americans should be engaging in a spiritual warfare. Like, okay, you're gonna do it, then you're gonna have people behind the scenes who are gonna pray all of us through it. Okay. So here's where I'm gonna end with this. Okay. Make sure you like and subscribe. If Donald J. Trump is going to take us Americans to it, then Holly E. King is going to pray the Americans through it. And so it is. So anyway, I love you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this video. All you trolls out there, make sure you come back on another day, okay? Because we have fun and we dress up. We play pretty, don't we, mama? But guys, there's a spiritual warfare going on. So do with this information what you will. So that's it. I love you all. Live the dream. Again, March the 10th, 2026. The color of the day is gray. And the moon's in Sagittarius. So Jupiter went direct today. So good. So good. I'm so glad. So, all right, that's it. Have a great day. We'll see you later. Bye.